ladies, this is your January program. I hope you guys had a great Christmas or whatever holiday you celebrate, a good new year, and now we're ready to work. So this is the video where you'll see everything you need to know. I'm gonna do a quick demo of each exercise when I first start my videos. For those of you that have been with me before, or you might recognize an exercise, you can see it really quick. If you have not been with me before or you've never exercised, whatever it is, after that I will do a really in-depth explanation of all of the stuff that you need to know, okay? So we're gonna get started. Monday the 3rd, this is a lower body workout. So we have 2 sections, 4, 5, or 6 rounds, and then the side planks. So I try to make it known that there's 2 sections by the star and the underline. That means those are 2 separate sections. So some workouts only have 1 section, some workouts have 2 sections. This one has 2 sections. It says 4, 5, or 6 rounds. That means you're going to pick 4 rounds, 5 rounds, or 6 rounds, okay? Then we have weighted quick pulse sumo squat, alternating lateral lunge with straight leg deadlift, bridges, and then part 2 is side planks. So weighted quick pulse sumo, you can hold the weight however you want. You're just pulsing at the bottom. Alternating lateral lunge with straight leg deadlift. Again, you can hold 1 or 2 weights, but I'm gonna back way up and I'm just gonna show you with 1. So you're gonna hit your lateral, come to the middle, straight leg deadlift, other lateral, middle. So you would count it as 1, 2, 3, up to 14. And bridges. And I forgot what the second part was. Side planks. So that is where you're either up like this, you could be up on your high plank, or you could use that little foot in the middle and help push up. Okay, so if you've not been with me before, the number of reps, which means how many times you're doing the exercises, is the number in front of the exercise. So we're doing, in this case, 14 reps of each exercise, and then you pick 4, 5, or 6 rounds. So weighted quick pulse sumo squat. All right, so let me go over the sumo squat first. Sumo squat means that your feet are turned outward. So a regular squat, your feet typically look like this. Narrow squat, your feet look like this, but your narrow stance. Sumo, you have a wider stance, and then your feet, your toes point outward, okay? So they're kind of pointing diagonal forward. So what that does is it shifts the attention from the front of your thigh to the inner thigh. So that's what the sumo sumo squat works, okay? So this would be like your regular sumo squat, okay? So as I said, you have a wider stance, your toes are pointing out. So when I come down, it's gonna pull in here instead of on top. I mean, you'll still feel it on top too, but a regular squat wouldn't pull on the inside of your thighs, okay? So that's what your sumo squat looks like. Now we're gonna add the pulse. So you come down, bounce, up, down, pulse, up, down, pulse, up. So that's what it looks like from the side. Down, pulse, up, down, pulse, up, okay? And then I put weighted. Of course, anything that we do in these videos, if it says weighted, you don't have to use weight. If I don't use weight, you can. Usually if it's something that you can add it to, I try to show you how you would do that or tell you when you can. So normally, sumo, I like to hold the weight like this, the long way, in between my legs. So I would go down, pulse, stand, down, pulse, stand. Okay, if you are somebody who needs the help of a chair, you can either quick tap, which would look like this. I gotta make sure I'm close enough, I might not be. Tap, see my butt hit the chair, so I know to stand back up. Tap, tap, tap. If you need to do a full sit, you're gonna sit and you're gonna hold that same form and then stand up. Sit and then stand up. So you don't wanna move your feet or change anything because you're trying to keep that sumo squat. You don't wanna move your feet and then be doing a regular squat, okay? So any really squatting type of thing, you can use your chair and you can either tap and go, which is what I did the first time, or you can do a full sit. So unfortunately, if you're gonna do the full sit, you can't really tap and go. You would have to just do, or if it's pulsing or whatever, you would have to just do regular whatever squat it is. And even if you don't have knee injuries, if you're somebody who's never squatted before and you don't understand the depth of how you're supposed to go or where you're supposed to go down, you can always start with a chair or a bench, and that way your butt hits it. Because a lot of times people squat and they don't squat low enough, or like, you know, they just don't know where they are in space because they're not used to it. So that's a good tool if you're very new and you are like not aware of how far you're going or if you're not going far enough, okay? Next we have alternating lateral lunge with a straight leg deadlift. So this one is a little tricky to fit in the frame, but again, like I'm pretty sure, okay, so let me back up. So what you're doing, let me show you without weight. What you're doing is you're doing a lateral lunge, you're coming back to the middle, straight leg deadlift, lateral lunge other side, back, lateral lunge, straight leg deadlift, lateral lunge. So that would equal 4 because each side is counting. So it would count 1, 2, 3, 4, we're doing 14. Okay, so I'm gonna get closer so I can break it down. Your lateral lunge is a big step out to the side. Both my feet are still pointing straight. My body's still pointing straight, my hips are still pointing straight, and I'm going to sink down, diagonal back to this side. So I'm gonna think that there is a pocket right here, and I'm trying to sit my butt in it. So I'm gonna let my butt go back and diagonal. So see how my hips are going diagonal, diagonal, sink back, bend this knee, sink back, sink back. You're gonna get pretty much almost a 90-degree angle, stand back up, okay? So in this case, you're gonna do the lunge and then you're gonna stand back to the middle because you need to do your deadlift, okay? So big step out to the side, everything's pointing forward, bend the knee, push your hips diagonal back. There's a pocket back here, diagonal back, push your butt back, bend your knee. This leg is straight. All of your weight when you do this is on this leg, okay? So like as you notice, there's zero weight on this leg. So again, sink down, diagonal back. That's what it looks like from the side. Okay, so see, I'm shifting this way and then I'm sitting, all right? So basically from that side, it looks like a squat, although in reality, this leg is straight, okay? So it's the same type of motion. We are doing the deadlift. If it's too much for you, you can do it how I just showed it with no weight, but because there is a deadlift in there, you typically would want to hold a weight, okay? So the deadlift part, when I just did it, I held one like this. You could have one in each hand. So when you would go down, it would be kind of probably like straddle your knee and then in front, okay? Or I did it like this, doesn't matter. Or it depends on how much weight you want to use. So for your straight leg deadlift, it's gonna look like this from the front. So it kind of looks like I'm bending over, okay? So what I'm doing is my legs are gonna bend, okay? They're just straighter than a normal deadlift. So I'm gonna do the same motion. So when I did my lateral lunge, my butt moved back to the wall in diagonal. This time it's just gonna move back to the wall. So my butt's gonna go back to the wall, my knees are gonna bend slightly, and my back is gonna come down. So I'm doing a hinge at the hip. I'm not squatting, okay? So I'm hinging at the hip, pushing my butt toward the wall, keeping my legs fairly straight, but as you can see, there is a bend. And then I'm gonna get to a point where my hamstrings are gonna pull really tight and I don't wanna slouch my back. So I'm gonna come to a stop. For me, it's about right here, then come back up, okay? Back to the ground, butt to the wall, slow lower, feel that pull, stand up, okay? So this is what it looks like together. Lateral, deadlift, lateral, deadlift, okay? So your feet are probably gonna be a little bit closer than they normally would because you're coming out of that lateral lunge, but that's okay. You just don't want them like totally touching. So again, when you go down for your straight leg deadlift, you're hinging at the hip, so that means you're bending at the waist. Your butt is gonna push back to the wall. Your knees are gonna slightly bend. So see how I'm bending to the floor, but I'm not slouching. So anytime we do really any exercise, you never want to have a hunched back. So here I am like this. If I were to reach for the ground or try to go lower, I'm going to end up dropping my shoulders. So the minute you drop your shoulders, your back is going to hunch. So what the difference is, I'll get closer so hopefully it's easier to see. If I'm like this, that's how you want to be. Like I said, the minute you drop your shoulders, your back rounds. So it's the difference of this and this. So when you do this, you're more likely to strain your back, okay? So one more time, just so you can see it all put together. Lateral, deadlift, lateral, 2, lateral, deadlift, lateral, 4, okay? And bridges. So most people have probably done these at some point or another, but you're just gonna be on your back, your head is gonna be on the ground, your knees are bent, and you're just gonna push up with your hips and squeeze your butt. So you're gonna lift, basically you're lifting your butt as high as you can off the ground, lower, 1. Squeeze your butt, lift your hips, 2. Squeeze and lift, 3. Okay, so you don't just wanna come here. You wanna come as high as you can. So you wanna think about pushing your hips up, okay? And down. So that one's fairly simple. Now, once you get through all of your rounds, you're gonna move on to part 2, which is our side planks. So you have a timers page at the end of your workout schedule. So that is gonna help you, plus the video should help you figure out how to input this. So this is telling you exactly what to input. You're gonna choose, do you wanna do a 20-second side plank, 25-second side plank, 30-second side plank, whatever it is, you input that for your work. We're all gonna rest for 25 seconds, and our rounds per Tabata is 4 because we are doing 2 rounds per side, okay? So your side plank, as I showed earlier, is typically done on your elbow. So you're gonna lay on your side, you're gonna stack your feet. That means they're like this on top of each other. And you're gonna push off and hold. Some people like to hold like this, but either way, you're in an elbow plank, okay? Some people do like a high plank one, so that's on the palm instead of your elbow. Again, some people put their arm up, you can put it wherever you would like. If you cannot do a side plank or you are struggling big time, you have a few options. You can do it kneeling, which would be like this. You could do elbow, but that's really close to the ground, so probably do it up on your hand. Or go back to the stack, take your top leg, cross your foot over, and your heel is gonna be in your mid-thigh. So it's gonna be higher than your knee, or kind of pretty close to your knee, okay? So you're gonna look like this, and then you're gonna push up. So the point of having your foot in the middle is it breaks up your body weight. So when your feet are both stacked down here and you lift up, you're lifting up from your feet to your hand. When you break it up and stick your foot in the middle like that, now you have less weight to lift, okay? So it seems funky, and at first I never really understood why people did that, but now I get it. So that's all it is. All it is it's basically acting as like a pillar. So if you think about it that way, when you do it this way, you've got 2 pillars, your feet and your hand. When you do it this way, you've got 3 pillars, foot, and hand. So obviously there's more support in 3 than there is in 2, okay? So you're gonna do your 4 rounds of that, and that's your first workout.